Hello children, I am Ekta. Children, shapes are everywhere around us. We see them in things like books, windows, road signs, and even the paths we walk on. Some shapes are made of straight lines like triangles, squares, and rectangles, while others, like circles, have curved lines. Understanding these shapes and how to measure them is important in our daily lives. For example, when we use a ruler to measure a pencil or compare the length of two pieces of string, we are using basic math concepts. Lines, angles, and shapes are building blocks of many things around us. We also see lines in things like railroad tracks or the edges of a table. Some lines never touch, called parallel lines, and others cross at one point, called intersecting lines. In this video, you will learn how to measure line segments, identify different types of angles, and understand how lines can be perpendicular or parallel. We will also show how to measure angles using a tool called a protractor, which helps us find the exact size of an angle. Understanding these concepts will help you see the shapes and angles around you in a whole new way. Learning outcomes. After the completion of this lesson, you will be able to learn to measure line segments using rulers and dividers to compare lengths. Understand different types of lines like intersecting, parallel, and perpendicular lines. Identify and measure angles using a protractor in degrees. Recognize and name different types of angles like acute, obtuse, and reflex angles. Keywords from this lesson are shapes, line segments, angles, divider, intersecting lines, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, acute angle, obtuse angle, reflex angle. Children, first let us see understanding elementary shapes. There are so many shapes around us made up of lines and curves like line segments, angles, triangles, polygons, and circles, etc. These shapes are of different sizes and measures. Measuring line segments. A line segment is a fixed part of the line, so it must have some length. we can compare any line segment on the basis of their length. Comparison by observation. We can tell which line segment is greater than other just by observing the two line segments, but it is not sure. Here, we can clearly say that AB greater than CD. But sometimes, it is difficult to tell which one is greater. Comparison by tracing. In this method, we have to trace one line on paper, then put the traced line segment on the other line to check which one is greater. But this is difficult method because every time to measure the different size of line segments, we have to make a separate line segment. Comparison using ruler and a divider. We can use a ruler to measure the length of a line segment. Put the 0 mark at a point A and then move toward L to measure the length of the line segment. But it may have some errors on the basis of the thickness of the ruler. This could be made accurate by using a divider. Put the one end of the divider on point A and open it to put another end on point B. Now pick up the divider without disturbing the opening and place it on the ruler so that one end lies on 0. Read the marking on the other end and we can compare the two lines. Now let us see about line. It is made up of infinitely many points with infinite length and no end point. It extends indefinitely in both directions. Named as AB bar or sometimes intersecting lines. The two lines that share one common point are called intersecting lines. This shared point is called the point of intersection. Here, line L and M are intersecting at point C. Real life example of intersecting lines. Parallel lines. Two or more lines that never intersect, never cross each other are called parallel lines. Real life examples of parallel lines. Perpendicular lines. If two lines intersect with each other and form an angle of 90 degrees, then they must be perpendicular to each other. Here, AB and MN are intersecting at point N and form a right angle. We will write it as AB perpendicular to MN or MN perpendicular to AB. Reads as AB is perpendicular to MN or MN is perpendicular to AB. Perpendicular bisector. If a perpendicular divides another line into two equal parts, then it is said to be a perpendicular bisector of that line. Here, CD is the perpendicular bisector of AB as it divides AB into two equal parts, that is, AD is equal to DB. Angles right and straight. We can understand the concept of right and straight angles by directions. There are 4 directions: north, south, east and west. When we move from north to east, then it forms an angle 90 degree, which is called right angle. When we move from north to south, then it is form an angle of 180 degree, which is called straight angle. When we move 4 right angles in the same direction, then we reach to the same position again. That is, if we make a clockwise turn from north to reach to north again, then it forms an angle of 360 degree, which is called a complete angle. This is called 1 revolution. In a clock, there are 2 hands, that is minute hand and hour hand, which moves clockwise in every minute. When the clock hand moves from one position to another, then turns through an angle. When a hand starts from 12 and reaches to 12 again, then it is said to be completed a revolution. From 12 to 6, half revolution is equal to 2 right angles. From 6 to 9, 1/4 revolution is equal to 1 right angle. From 1 to 10, 3/4 revolution is equal to 3 right angles. Now, let us see acute, obtuse, straight and reflex angles. There are so many other types of angles which are not right or straight angles. Angles. Acute angle. An angle less than the right angle is called acute angle. Obtuse angle. An angle greater than a right angle and less than straight angle is called obtuse angle. Straight angle. The measure of a straight angle is 180 degrees. It is called a straight angle as it looks like a straight line. Reflex angle. Angle greater than the straight angle is called reflex angle. Measuring angles. By observing an angle, we can only get the type of angle, but to compare it properly, we need to measure it. An angle is measured in the degree. One complete revolution is divided into 360 equal parts, so each part is 1 degree. We write it as 360 degree and read as 360 degrees. We can measure the angle using a ready-to-use device called protractor. It has a curved edge which is divided into 180 equal parts. It starts from 0 degree to 180 degree, from right to left and vice versa. To measure an angle using protractor. Place the protractor on the angle in such a way that the midpoint of protractor comes on the vertex B of the angle. Adjust it so that line BC comes on the straight line of the protractor. Read the scale which starts from 0 degree coinciding with the line BC. The point where the line AB comes on the protractor is the degree measure of the angle. Hence, angle ABC is equal to 72 degree. Points to remember. A line segment has a fixed length and we can measure it using a ruler or divider. Intersecting lines meet at one point while parallel lines never touch each other. Perpendicular lines form a 90-degree angle when they meet. Angles are measured in degrees and we use a protractor to find the exact angle. Different types of angles include acute, obtuse, straight, and reflex based on their size. Thanks for watching.